What if a team of 3 could out-research a team of 30? Not by working harder, but by making AI argue with itself. Imagine a team of 3 people just completely out-researching a massive corporate team of 30.
Right, which sounds totally impossible.
It really does, but they do it not by working harder or, buying some crazy expensive software, but by literally forcing artificial intelligence to argue with itself.
Yeah, it sounds like science fiction, honestly, but it is precisely what we are examining today. We're looking at this massive paradigm shift away from the old, prompt in, answer out model that most people still use.
Exactly. So, today we are analyzing recent material outlining a proprietary framework. It is called the Closed-Loop Research Engine, and it's designed specifically for solopreneurs and small teams trying to leverage data at scale. So, our essential question today is this: does moving from conversational prompting to a systematic 4-stage closed-loop methodology actually guarantee high-precision, reliable insights? Or does this highly structured system kind of overpromise on its ability to eliminate the inherent flaws of language models?
Right, and to set the table, my position today is that while this closed-loop system is absolutely an improvement over standard linear prompting, it falsely promises, quote, 100% reliability and dangerously overlooks the interpretive risks baked into the very architecture of AI synthesis.
And I will argue that this closed-loop system is an essential paradigm shift that anchors AI in verifiable reality, effectively eliminating the dangerous feedback gap and turning research into a repeatable, automated, competitive advantage.
Well, let's get right into that feedback gap then, because I think we agree on the core problem the source material identifies, right?
Oh, we definitely do. Look at how most people currently use AI for research. When we talk about traditional human research, there is an expectation of real rigor. Think of it like operating a municipal water filtration plant. You pull in muddy water from the river, you run it through sediment tanks, carbon filters, chemical treatments.
The whole 9 yards.
Exactly. And what comes out the other end is pure, verifiable drinking water. But with the standard linear model of AI interaction, that filtration plant is just entirely missing. It's literally just a person standing by the river with a bucket scooping up whatever happens to be floating by and drinking it straight.
And hoping they don't get sick from the hallucinations, it is the absolute definition of informational muddy waters.
Yeah, it is.
When you just type a prompt into an interface and wait for an answer, you are essentially asking the AI to guess based on surface-level data. It lacks depth. It lacks context.
And without a mechanism to verify its own logic, the AI inevitably hallucinates or just regurgitates common knowledge.
Exactly.
For a business owner, this leads to low-quality outputs and inconsistent decisions. The closed-loop system aims to solve this by introducing 4 rigorous stages. So you have source discovery, information extraction, synthesis, and cross-verification.
It basically forces the AI to check its own work.
Right? And if you're a solopreneur watching right now, you might be thinking, I barely have time to write one prompt, let alone engineer a 4-stage AI loop.
Yeah, it sounds exhausting.
But the argument here is that by spending just 15 minutes a day running these loops in parallel, you build a massive knowledge base that compounds over time.
I mean, I hear the theory there, and I certainly acknowledge the danger of the feedback gap. The traditional conversational model is a massive drain on time and, frankly, reputation.
Totally.
Furthermore, the materials call to create what it calls a source vault. So a central repository of verified documentation is an incredibly smart foundation. You absolutely have to restrict the AI's universe of information.
Right.
But where I come at it from a completely different way is the epistemological overreach of the framework.
You mean the claims of certainty?
Exactly. The text asserts that its extraction phase strips away all filler to leave pure, quote, raw intellectual property.
Yes.
More problematically, it claims that by using an elite-level verification process, specifically a double-blind check where a second AI model verifies the first, you achieve, and I quote, 100% reliability.
Right.
That is a dangerous guarantee. It completely ignores the fundamental mechanics of how large language models actually work. You can improve the output drastically, yes, but mathematically guaranteeing absolute certainty in AI synthesis. That is an illusion.
I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective on how that certainty is actually engineered. It isn't magic, right? It is the result of strict architectural constraints in the first 2 stages, source discovery and extraction.
Okay.
The material is really explicit that we must move beyond generic web searches. We are feeding the AI raw, verified documentation.
The source vault.
Right? The source vault. So let's look at case study 1 from the text, which focuses on market research.
Yeah, the customer reviews one.
Exactly. Instead of asking the AI a generic question like, what do customers in this sector want? And letting it scrape the entire noisy internet.
Which is a disaster.
Total disaster. We feed it actual competitor financial reports and real verified customer reviews. Think about it like a student.
Okay.
It is the difference between asking a student to summarize a complex historical event from memory, where they might, invent dates or conflate events, versus handing that student 3 primary source documents and asking them to extract only the specific grievances mentioned.
It's a helpful analogy, but we have to remember that the student in this case is a probabilistic text generator.
Well, sure.
AI isn't exactly filtering physical dirt like your water filtration plant. It's more like a chef tasting a complex soup and, guessing what ingredient is missing. Even if you give the chef a strict recipe, your source vault, the chef's palate, which is the AI's underlying training data, still biases how they taste the soup.
But that's exactly why the framework uses what it calls the extract and refine method. It doesn't let the chef just taste and guess.
Doesn't it?
No. It isolates what the text calls the trifecta of perfect extraction. That trifecta is isolated facts, underlying logic, and original context. By grounding the AI strictly in this trifecta, the mechanism eliminates the guesswork.
Hold on. Let me lay out why that trifecta isn't as bulletproof as it sounds. Look, pulling an isolated fact is easy, but pulling the underlying logic inherently requires interpretation. Well, the text claims no guesswork is allowed during extraction. But let's map this out for the person watching. Let's look at case study 2 from the material, the technical deep dive.
Right, the hardware one?
Yes. Here, the user is instructed to feed the AI highly complex original white papers to pull out specific latency and throughput metrics for a new hardware architecture.
And it works because it is looking for concrete numbers.
But it's really just a number. Summarizing complex technical specifications requires the AI to make subjective decisions about what constitutes noise versus signal.
I mean, sure, it parses the text.
The framework tells the user to have the AI strip away the conversational filler. But in a 40-page technical white paper, what an AI categorizes as conversational filler could actually be crucial context.
About the metrics?
Exactly. About the environmental limitations of those exact latency metrics. By demanding pure stripped-down facts, you are still relying on the AI's subjective filtering mechanism. It is deciding what matters.
I'm not convinced by that line of reasoning, honestly, because you are assuming the extraction is happening in a vacuum, or that it's just reducing the document to a mere list of bullet points.
Well, it is stripping it down.
But the trifecta explicitly prevents that stripping of nuance. When the AI pulls the number, say 50 milliseconds, the framework dictates that it must also pull the logic behind the metric and attach the literal paragraph it came from.
Yeah.
The context travels with the fact.
But the AI still selects the paragraph.
Yes, but it anchors the output to a verifiable location in the text. It's not generating new text. It is retrieving and compartmentalizing existing text. And this sets up a perfect foundation for stage 3, synthesis.
Okay.
Because if extraction is about isolating the facts, synthesis is where those facts are combined to generate new insights.
And this is exactly where the framework really starts to contradict itself.
I don't think it contradicts itself at all. I think it leverages the AI's strengths. The material introduces this brilliant concept of cross-pollination.
Right?
It suggests asking the AI to look at your extracted data through the lens of a completely different industry. For example, the text asks, what would a global supply chain expert see in this extracted marketing data?
Yes, I remember that part.
This is where the magic happens. We aren't just summarizing anymore. We are creating unique mental models and highly tailored strategies.
Well,
And because the loop is tight and we avoid what the text calls advanced mistake 2, which is overprompting, the AI remains focused and the insights remain structurally sound.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that entirely. Let me tell you why.
Go for it.
There is a massive fundamental tension right in the middle of this framework. On one hand, the text explicitly warns us about advanced mistake 1, ignoring the source.
Right.
It says, if the AI doesn't cite its work from the source vault, don't trust the output, period. It demands strict adherence to the raw, isolated facts we just extracted.
Yeah, which is smart.
But then, in the very next breath, it asks the AI to engage in this cross-pollination. It asks it to create unique mental models by applying alternate industry lenses.
Right, to denominate a novel solution.
But you cannot have it both ways. The moment you ask an AI to apply the theoretical framework of a supply chain expert to marketing data, where is the AI getting that supply chain knowledge?
From its models.
Exactly. But it's not in the verified source vault. You didn't upload a textbook on supply chain logistics.
It draws on its general training weights to formulate the lens.
Exactly. You are demanding that the AI leave the safety of your verified source vault. It has to pull from its latent space, its general training data, to understand what a supply chain expert even sounds like.
I mean, yes.
And the moment it leans heavily on its general training data to create a new conceptual model, you are reintroducing the exact hallucination risk that this entire closed-loop system was designed to prevent. You are inviting the chef's biased palate back into the kitchen.
Exactly why the framework doesn't stop there.
Okay.
The creative leap taken during cross-pollination is precisely what necessitates stage 4, verification. This is the non-negotiable step that closes the loop.
The famous double-blind check.
Yes. The text outlines an elite-level verification process, and how it actually works mechanically is brilliant. You ask a completely different AI model. Maybe you use GPT for synthesis, so you use Claude for verification.
Right, a different architecture.
Right, and you ask it to audit the first model's findings using that exact same source vault.
But what does that actually look like in practice?
It looks like an automated adversarial network. Model A generates a synthesized strategy, say treating customer churn like a logistics bottleneck based on our supply chain cross-pollination.
Okay.
Model B is given the original raw data extracted in step 2, and Model A's proposed strategy. Model B is explicitly prompted to find contradictions. If the synthesized strategy cannot be supported by the raw data, the second AI flags it. This directly combats advanced mistake 3, which is the echo chamber. By cross-referencing between different models, you ensure the implementation plan is actually feasible.
Okay, I see.
This rigorous system of checks and balances is what makes this AI research engine as reliable as if a human expert had conducted the audit.
I hear the mechanics of it, and it sounds incredibly sophisticated, but we have to press hard on this. The text makes an incredibly bold claim based on this mechanism.
The reliability claim.
Yes. It says, this is how you achieve 100% reliability in your research. You cannot use the phrase 100% reliability when referring to probabilistic models?
Well,
Can we at least agree that the text is using marketing hyperbole there?
I don't think it's hyperbole if you understand what it's guaranteeing. It's not guaranteeing a metaphysical truth. It is guaranteeing an operational constraint.
But if you have Model A synthesize a strategy and Model B verify it and they agree, that does not prove objective truth.
It proves the logic holds up.
No, it proves algorithmic consensus. These models are built on similar underlying transformer architectures. They are often trained on vastly overlapping data sets scraped from the exact same internet.
Sure, but
Relying exclusively on a secondary AI to verify the first doesn't eliminate the echo chamber. It merely creates an advanced automated echo chamber.
I disagree. They might have similar architectures, but they weigh parameters differently.
Even so, the material warns us against echo chambers, yet proposes a verification step that assumes two AIs agreeing equals an infallible mathematical proof. You cannot mathematically guarantee global intelligence and highest precision just by putting two probabilistic text generators in conversation with one another via an API and telling them to play auditor.
But you are ignoring the grounding constraint of the audit. You're acting as if Model B is being asked a philosophical question.
I am not.
You kind of are. The second AI is not being asked, do you generally agree with this strategy? It is being asked, does the raw data in this specific source document technically support this specific implementation plan?
Okay, right.
Let's go back to case study 2.
The latency metrics?
Right. We synthesized a custom implementation plan for a tech stack based on latency metrics from a white paper. The verification step requires the second AI to check the proposed plan against the original white paper's constraints.
Yes.
If Model A's plan suggests a data load that exceeds the extracted throughput metric, Model B flags the mathematical contradiction. It is an objective check against a constrained variable. It limits the operational bounds of the AI to the four corners of the source document. That is why the system promises precision.
And yet, language itself is inherently interpretive. A white paper's constraints are written in text, not just pure math.
Well, a lot of it is math.
But if the first AI misunderstood the nuance of the text constraint during extraction, perhaps it missed a caveat about temperature dependencies, and the second AI shares the same natural language processing biases, the second AI might simply validate the misunderstanding.
But the likelihood of two different models making the exact same interpretive error on a highly constrained variable is incredibly low.
Low is not zero. Look, my concern isn't that the loop is useless. Far from it, it's highly useful. My concern is the hubris of the framing.
The phrasing?
Yes, phrases like no guesswork allowed, perfect extraction, and especially 100% reliability. These phrases breed complacency.
I see what you're saying.
If a solopreneur genuinely believes their AI engine is 100% reliable, they stop checking the work themselves. The framework essentially outsources the final human judgment to a second AI. I argue that the truest form of closed-loop research requires the human to be the final validator, not just the architect of the prompts.
But let's look at the practical reality of the user profile the material is addressing. We are talking about small teams and solopreneurs. Their alternative isn't a team of dedicated human researchers. Their alternative is linear prompting or, doing nothing at all. The human is already the bottleneck. If a business owner integrates this loop into their daily routine, setting up an automated folder where PDFs drop in, the AI extracts the trifecta, cross-pollinates a strategy, and audits it, the compounding results are staggering.
It's certainly a massive upgrade in throughput, I will give you that.
Exactly. The text argues that within a month of building this, you have a deeper understanding of your market than any competitor. Yes, the human oversees the system, defines what success looks like, and crucially, chooses the sources that go into the vault.
Right, that's key.
But by automating the heavy lifting of extraction, synthesis, and double-blind verification, a team of 3 really can process data with the highest precision and out-research a team of 30. The engine becomes a proprietary asset. The systematic rigor of the 4 stages is what protects them from the very complacency you're worried about.
I will readily concede that the organizational discipline this framework instills is a massive competitive advantage. Moving away from conversational prompting and treating AI interactions as a structured, engineered pipeline fundamentally changes how a person thinks about data.
It really does.
But we must strip away the marketing hyperbole to see its true value. The value isn't in absolute algorithmic perfection. It's in the drastic reduction of error.
I think that's fair.
The source fault and the targeted retrieval mechanisms are the real heroes of this framework, ensuring the AI only processes the most relevant data. But we cannot pretend that synthesis and verification are completely immune to the black box nature of large language models. The phrase highest precision should be understood by the user as, the highest possible precision given the flawed nature of the tools, not an absolute ironclad guarantee.
I think that brings us to a natural point of summary. My position remains that the closed-loop research engine is a transformative methodology. It successfully moves us from a linear guessing game into a repeatable, systematic research architecture.
Yep.
By meticulously separating the workflow into source discovery, information extraction, synthesis.
However, the framework's promise of 100% reliability is deeply flawed. The tension between strictly adhering to raw facts in the vault and asking the AI to creatively cross-pollinate mental models inherently reintroduces the risk of hallucination from the model's latent space. Furthermore, using a second AI to verify the first establishes algorithmic consensus, not objective truth. Users absolutely should adopt this 4-stage framework, but they must do so while recognizing the inherent interpretive limits of AI. The loop is powerful, but it is not infallible.
Well, despite our disagreement on the absolute certainty of the system, we clearly share a consensus that the future of navigating complex data is systematic.
Absolutely.
Treating research as a structured architecture rather than a simple Q&A is the only way forward, and the material invites us to prove this for ourselves. If you're watching, choose one source today. Just one PDF or one market report.
Yeah, start small.
Exactly. Start small, experience the clarity of the extraction, and scale up from there.
Agreed. The true value lies in the rigorous mindset the framework instills in the user. You stop treating AI as an oracle and start treating it as an engine. There is much more to explore in the nuances of how these models interact within that loop.
Indeed. We started today by talking about a municipal water filtration plant, a mechanical stage process that takes muddy river water and purifies it into something you can safely consume.
Whether this closed-loop engine removes every single microscopic contaminant, as the material claims, or simply gets the water clean enough to safely drink, it is undoubtedly a more sophisticated mechanism than just standing on the riverbank with a bucket.
We leave it to you to run your own loop, filter your own sources, and decide just how pure the resulting insights really are. Most people use AI to get answers. The top 1% use it to build systems. If this changed how you think, subscribe. Because everything here is about one thing: turning AI from a tool into leverage.